unfortunately, the saga of the missing Titan Submersible that lost contact while exploring the Titanic has come to a tragic end. We now know that all 5 passengers on board, including a Pakistani businessman and his son, a British billionaire, a legendary Titanic explorer, and the CEO of OceanGate, Stockton Rush, have died. The news broke yesterday after pieces of the sub were found on the ocean floor near the Titanic and later confirmed by a statement from OceanGate, which was the company that managed the craft. There are so many different parts of this story that we've already touched on, but I just want to briefly sum up one additional piece of information we learned in the past 24 hours. I think the biggest bombshell is that the U.S. Navy actually detected audio that sounded a lot like an implosion all the way back on Sunday, right around the time that the craft lost communication with its mothership. But the sound wasn't definitive, and thus they allowed the search and rescue mission to continue over the past week. Only when the debris was found yesterday were officials ready to declare that the search was over. So, Neal, what are some of the biggest storylines that stand out to you now that we know the fate of the Titan?
You know, when you talk about not suffering when you die, this is the most instantaneous way you can go in possibly history. I was looking on Quora, and they were mentioning this about a nuclear sub. When a submarine hull collapses, which is what happened here in the Titan disaster, it moves inward at about 1,500 miles per hour or 2,200 feet per second. A modern nuclear submarine's hull radius is about 20 feet. So the time required for complete collapse is about 1 millisecond. And the human brain's rational response time is at best 150 milliseconds. So we were all wondering whether they were, down there alive, gasping for breath with the oxygen tank dwindling. And this is not what happened here.
Yeah, you saw a lot of people saying that of the worst case scenarios, this is like the best of the worst case scenarios because it happened so quickly. We also got a television interview appearance from James Cameron, who is the director of the Titanic movie. And his big quote was, "I'm struck by the similarity of the Titanic disaster," saying it was kind of the same thing where maybe the hubris of a pilot plowing forward into the unknown without giving the proper safety precautions. Very similar parallels there.
But he has a ton of credibility. He's not just the Titanic director. He is a underwater explorer too. He's built his own submersibles. He's made 33 dives to the Titanic wreckage, and he kind of did a mic drop yesterday on all these interviews when he was like, "I've been on the Titanic for more time than the actual captain of the Titanic." So he comes out of this looking really good. He also criticized, OceanGate, the company who seemed to ignore a lot of warnings from experts over the past few years for not getting their craft certified by this third-party body of experts.
Yeah. And then also, just to quickly touch on kind of the internet's reaction to this story.
Wild.
This was one of the more collective internet stories we've seen since we've been doing this podcast, for sure. And there's so many angles. Like, you had the billionaire's stepson, Hamish Harding, who went to a Blink-182 concert.
Right.
The internet was kind of up in arms about that and his reaction to it. And then he also started just being kind
weird,
of generally creepy and inappropriate on the internet. And then there was also there was the orca angle too, where we had just heard about these orca attacks and people are saying this is the ocean kind of uprising. So there was a lot of different jokes being made and then people saying, should we be joking about this? So just one of the true internet stories of the year so far.
And then you had the media kind of navel gazing, being like, we're covering this so much, we're covering this wall to wall. Meanwhile, last week there was a huge migrant ship disaster where hundreds of people were killed in the Mediterranean, one of the worst disasters ever. And that got, a fraction of the coverage of this, which... Look, people are going to be more interested in this. That's just a fact of life. But the media was kind of being like, look at what we're doing. And you saw a lot of pushback. I want to talk about a little bit about what's next for the adventure tourism industry, which is this growing industry of taking really wealthy people to underexplored parts of the world, like Titanic, Mount Everest, the South Pole, and obviously space. And this is a huge industry. It was going to grow to $1 trillion this year. I mean, the tickets for this particular voyage were $250,000. So there's a lot of questions about, will there be more oversight of these extremely dangerous missions? I mean, my take is that nothing is going to stop explorers from exploring.
It's human nature, absolutely. And one final point on this topic, we did get some questions. What the heck were the banging noises? Because remember, there was a Canadian aircraft that detected banging noises that they thought sounded human because the regularity of them. And honestly, there's not a great answer for this. A lot of the theories are maybe it was just the wreckage itself hitting together. Maybe it was just wildlife. Like there are noises in the ocean. So that was the big question I had. It was like, I thought we heard
the ocean is loud.
Noises.
Have you ever been to the beach?
The ocean is loud.
It's like 100 decibels. The ocean is very loud.
Hey, thanks for watching. And if you want more Morning Brew Daily, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And also check out the rest of our episodes wherever you get your podcasts.
New episodes drop at 7 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, and you can email us at morningbrewdaily@morningbrew.com.